What's going on, everyone? Farzin Vasugian here with you on a Friday. That means this is the Red Friday Q&A live chat. Appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Happy Red Friday to all of you. We are 1 week away from the Chiefs and Chargers game in Brazil. We are 1 week away from the Red Friday, and man, it's gonna be a fun season. I just know it. Like I said, we're now, just a couple days ago, we were saying, hey, we're finally in single digit days away from the game. And now we're a week away. That's how fast this countdown's gone by. But here we are, nonetheless. It is the Red Friday Live Chat. I appreciate you all joining me tonight here as we are getting closer and closer to the NFL season. Hope you're all having a good day, and you guys know how this all works. It is the Q&A live chat. So whatever questions you guys have for me tonight, please ask them below. Drop your questions, and I'll get to them as we go on throughout the night. Instagram, we're everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, all of those places. So drop your comments, and we'll get to them as the show goes on. Red Friday Live Chat, it will probably be around this time when the NFL season kicks off. Obviously, we will not do a Red Friday Q&A Live Chat next week because the Chiefs are playing, so just don't expect one next week. But every Friday from here on out, you can expect a Q&A Live Chat. We will be doing these just about every single Red Friday. So that'll be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with this last year and the year before, and obviously we've had more and more followers on social media. So I do appreciate everyone that's become a part of this. You guys have been great. You guys really have. So please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe, follow me on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, all of those places. With that said, I'm going to take a moment and just kind of give you guys my thoughts on some things with Chiefs news. We got a couple of important pieces of information today from Andy Reid in his Zoom press conference. So I'll share those with you in just a moment. And also just some thoughts that came up. I will say this, and I posted about this earlier today. If you haven't heard already, Britt Reid, Andy Reid's son, he has started something this summer, and no one in the media has noticed this, surprisingly. But I do think it is worth talking about here. I've always said, if you're going to criticize someone, fine, but be sure to also give them credit when they deserve it. Certainly not going to sugarcoat anything Britt Reid did, but I think you'll want to hear what he's doing now and what he's trying to do to help people prevent from doing what he did. He's spoken out recently about the 2021 incident involving that young girl at the time, 5 years old. He has been very open and transparent about a lot of things, and we'll talk about that a little later on. But first, let me start with the news of the day from Andy Reid. A couple of things he went over today. The first one was the news involving Jalen Royals. I know this is a player on offense that's been getting a lot of attention, especially in training camp, especially from me. And unfortunately, Andy Reid did not rule him out completely, but did say that basically was hinting that Jalen Royals is not expected to play next Friday in Brazil. Will he still travel with the team? That remains to be seen, which does lead me to my next point. We'll just make this one quick. The Chiefs are planning to leave Kansas City Wednesday. I'm assuming Wednesday morning to head over to Sao Paulo, Brazil. Very similar approach to a couple of years ago when they left Kansas City on a Wednesday to get to Germany. So very similar approach, going about it the same way. People were kind of interested at the time because the Dolphins, they left Miami on a Monday and got to Germany the same day, who the Chiefs went up against. Whereas the Chiefs got there a couple days later, and people thought, oh, the Dolphins are at an advantage now because of this, and turned out the Chiefs ended up winning that football game. But yeah, there are certainly some different ways you could go about this, and Andy Reid kind of choosing to treat this like a normal away game where you normally you would get there the day before, but because it's an international travel, it's about a 20-hour flight. He and the team, they are taking off on Wednesday, which is very similar for the protocol for the Brazil game. But to go back to Jalen Royals here, and I'm seeing some concerns about this already here with the fact that he is on no, well, he's not on IR, but he's not going to be active. At least that's what we're expecting from Royals next week. But the Chiefs are down 2 wide receivers. Rashee Rice on IR. Robert Tonyan, he's been elevated to the 53-man practice squad, and he will replace Rice on his roster spot. Obviously not with the exact same position, but the Chiefs kind of had their roster spot figured out. That way Tonyan would come back and be that new 53rd guy if he cleared waivers, which he did. With that said, the Chiefs look like they're going to have 5 wide receivers for that week 1 game, or 6 rather, because they started with 8. Rice is on IR and Royals might not be active. Rice, is suspended. For the available receivers, the 6 available receivers, it's expected to be Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, Nico Remigio, and Jason Brownlee. Jason Brownlee, I think, is probably the one that a lot of people were surprised with, because I kept saying all offseason, is it going to be 6 or 7 wide receivers? It was 8. Briefly, it was 8. Obviously, Rice ended up getting the suspension. He officially accepted it, and they moved forward with that. So that allowed Brownlee to make. And I said this on Wednesday morning. I said it could be related to the Rice suspension. It could also be the Chiefs fearing that if they had Jason Brownlee go through the waiver wire, they thought that maybe he would be picked up by another team. I think that's another reason why the Chiefs started with 8 wide receivers rather than letting Brownlee go through the waiver wire. Instead, they let Tonyan go through that. And fortunately for the Chiefs, it worked out in his favor and in their favor to where he would come back to Kansas City's practice squad and ended up being one of the quick elevations. And that's why a lot of people call it the initial 53-man roster, because you never know when things are going to change. I would be willing to bet more than, and not that I follow this very closely across the NFL, but more than half the teams have already made moves. And part of it is injury reasons. So that is the Chiefs wide receiver outlook for the near future. Hopefully Jalen Royals will be available, because again, this is someone that did a lot of good things in training camp. We didn't get to see him show that off in the preseason, but if given the opportunity, and I saw this from Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports, he was with Bleacher Report for a very long time. Jordan Schultz pointed out that the one guy to keep an eye on, and he pointed out that Royals is at the moment injured. He said that Jalen Royals is probably the guy that would do a lot of the lifting for Rice's specific duties while Rice is on suspension for those 6 games. Hopefully Royals comes back within those 6 games, hopefully sooner rather than later. But a lot of people already keep an eye on Jalen Royals. Unfortunately, he won't play in that first game in Brazil next Friday, but expected to maybe have a chance the following week 2 against the Eagles. And maybe that is when he can make his NFL debut. One other thing I do want to get into, specifically the defense. I want to know from you guys, where's your comfort level with the defense? Because I think a lot of people were shocked, me included, that Mike Pennel was released by the Chiefs. And by the way, for a lot of people saying, oh, this was expected, he's going to come back mid-season like he has the last couple of times the Chiefs brought him back and went to the Super Bowl. If that's the case, how come no one predicted this roster move before Tuesday night? I did not see one single person say that Mike Pennel could be a surprise cut. I've heard people in the local media and on social media talk about potential surprise cuts. I saw people mention Brashard Smith. I saw people mention one of the running backs, Mitchell or Hunt. I even saw one person out there say Juju Smith-Schuster could have been a surprise cut. As far as the defensive side, some people thought Josh Williams could have been that surprise cut. Nobody said Mike Pennel. Not one person said Mike Pennel. And listen, I would not have seen that coming. Never in a million years. Yeah, sure. Noddy is younger than Pennell, but I think Pennell still gives you more. But at the end of the day, I just don't think it makes sense. I've already seen some people in the national media say that, hey, Pennell's available. This guy is a solid defensive lineman that can contribute to any defensive line in the NFL. Unfortunately for Pennell, he has kind of been a journeyman in the NFL. It feels like when he's in Kansas City, he feels right at home and definitely feels comfortable in this defense. But whenever he's not with the Chiefs, I mean, he gets tossed around quite a bit in the league, and I don't know why. I haven't really followed Pennell closely outside of Kansas City to really be able to understand why, but that was a shock to me. So my comfort level looking at the defensive line with Derek Nottie instead of Mike Pennell, and then you have Omar Norman-Lott, who's currently dealing with an injury. Listen, Nottie, I think is... I don't want to say he's an underrated run stuffer because look, let's be honest here. He's not a great defensive lineman. This is not someone that goes out there and makes a world of difference for your defense. He doesn't. He's done some good things against the run, yes, but he's been with the team for 7 years. This is going to be his 8th season coming back from the Jets, and I just don't know how much Derek Nottie coming to Kansas City moves the needle for this Chiefs defense. Again, good run stopper, and that's key because I think Kansas City, they're going to continue to be good against the run. 26 straight games, playoffs included, not allowing a 100-yard rusher at the running back position. But I feel like whatever you want from Nottie, Mike Pennell can do better. I was excited for Nottie as a depth player, but I guess he's going to be one of the starting defensive tackles beside Chris Jones. That to me is the head scratcher. I disagree with it, but I'm not here to place any doubt on Brett Veach and Andy Reid and the rest of this front office because have they gotten it right 100% of the time? No, of course not. But more times than not, they have gotten it right. We'll see if this one works out in their favor. I certainly hope so. I mean, I'm a big fan of Mike Pennell. Was really excited when he came back, as were a lot of you guys when he resigned in the offseason. So that one certainly shocked me and a lot of other people as well. Okay, I got to get into the Micah Parsons thing. Micah Parsons, excuse me. Jordan Schultz shared a couple of anonymous posts, I guess, text messages he got from other execs in the NFL, basically saying that this is a dumb move. Whether you want to believe that from him or not is up to you. I don't think he has any reason to lie, but you got who did the Cowboys end up trading? Was it Ryan Lockett? Kenny Clark, I'm sorry, not even close. They got Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Kenny Clark's a good football player, but good enough to give up Micah Parsons? Man, I don't know about that one. And this is already a Dallas team that has some question marks here. And there was a really good question at the press conference. And the question was, hey, you were unable to or not willing to pay Micah Parsons, who's going to be a phenomenal defensive player for years to come in the NFL. He's been great, and the expectation is he'll only get better. How can a player expect to be paid here in Dallas if you weren't willing to pay him? And he goes, ask Dak Prescott, highest paid player in the NFL. I don't think that's a player. I don't think that's anything to brag about, that Dak Prescott, your quarterback, is the highest paid player in the NFL. That's not something you write home about. Look, Dak's backstory, all that stuff is great, but when it comes to the playing field, what has Dak Prescott done for you in the regular season? Like, if you, I remember the late Terez Paylor, he was making the case for Tony Gonzalez as to why Tony should have been put into the Hall of Fame, and he made that case in a meeting with all of the other voters. And where I'm going with this is, if someone had to give a speech as to why Dak should be in the Hall of Fame, what are they going to say? I'm not saying every single NFL contract reflects these things, skill level, talent level, and potentially Hall of Fame status, all those things, but it kind of should, shouldn't it? Like, if you're going to pay Dak Prescott all that money, make him the highest paid player in the NFL, shouldn't this Dallas team have at least one Super Bowl? Should they have at least some postseason success? What is the record with Dak Prescott in the playoffs? It's not very good. He got drafted when? 2016, I think. They've only won 2 playoff games with him. They've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dak Prescott has a 2-5 postseason record. That's not good. And he's your highest paid player. And in response to that very good question by whoever that was in the media, hey, what does a player need to do to get paid in Dallas? Oh, ask Dak Prescott, the quarterback, who's 2-5 in the playoffs and is the highest paid player in the NFL. That's not something to flex about. I mean, listen, Dak, I would say Dak is maybe just above average at best. Does he have great moments? Yeah, of course, but not on a consistent basis. I mean, the contract makes no sense. I was listening to someone on Sirius XM NFL radio. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lance Meadows. He said that last year, he said this, while the Cowboys were using their backup quarterback, he said, given how bad the backup quarterback is for Dallas, and because Dak is injured, the contract makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense because, number one, he's hurt. You're paying a guy all that money and he's not available. And number two, just because the backup quarterback is terrible does not prove that the contract is any better. Not even close. It had to be some of the worst analysis or commentary I've ever heard by someone in sports media. I just don't know. Like, look, everyone is 0-0 right now, right? Everyone's 0-0. But realistically, what is the end game for the Dallas Cowboys this year? And I get this is a team that gets talked about every single year because they are America's team. They are the Dallas Cowboys. They are that franchise, maybe the most iconic franchise in NFL history. I get all of that. And because of all of that, people are always watching the Dallas Cowboys very closely. And listen, I've seen some Cowboys fans say this online that Jerry wants to witness one more championship before his time here on this earth. I get all that. But how are you going to justify getting rid of the best defensive player on your team? I mean, listen, people were critical of the Cincinnati Bengals because they supposedly don't pay their players well, even though they haven't shown much improvement. At least they're paying their top tier guys. You can't say that about the Dallas Cowboys right now. Yeah, sure, it came with a lot of drama in Cincy, but boy, that Dallas team, man, I just don't know realistically, where does that team go from here? And listen, I'm pulling for them solely for the fact that Brian Schottenheimer is the head coach, the son of Marty Schottenheimer. So as a Chiefs fan, it's like, okay, you pull for that because Brian grew up here in the Kansas City area. His father, of course, a legend in the NFL, and of course, a legend here in Kansas City. I know he couldn't get the job done, but the Marty era of football in Kansas City, man, that's some of the best years of Chiefs football. And even though it never translated to anything in the playoffs, with the exception of early on when they were so close in the AFC title game, I mean, at least that for that alone, like you pull for Brian Schottenheimer. Other than that, I mean, I don't really care for the Cowboys much, but I'm kind of worried about Brian Schottenheimer. He could be on a very short leash, fair or not. Like, there's a lot of pressure on him to make this work in Dallas. Good luck. Here are the keys to this beat up car. We're asking you to go cross country with this, safe and sound, and on time. I mean, what do you even say to that? One thing I do want to talk about real quickly here, and this was not a topic I had planned to discuss at all until last night. So, of course, you guys know last night was the Nebraska-Cincinnati game at Arrowhead, Nebraska, with a win, a pretty damn good game too. Came down to the wire. Kelsey got booed by Nebraska fans. I think it's because listen, there's a strong contingency of Nebraska fans, but I guess they just booed him because he was a Cincy alum pulling for Cincy. I don't know. That was interesting. Might be the first time Kelsey's ever been booed at Arrowhead, but I guess there's a first for everything. But Chris Jones, like a lot of Chiefs players were at the game, Chris Jones posted a picture of him hanging out with Mike Pennel and Britt Reed. And he actually tagged Britt Reed on Instagram. I was like, oh, I didn't realize Britt Reed was on social media. So I decided to click over just kind of see what his social media is about. He has a private social media on Instagram and a public Instagram account. I follow both. He accepted my follow request on one of them. And listen, just full disclosure here, I did reach out to Britt Reed. I have not heard back yet because he has done some podcasts. And I was curious to see if he would be interested in coming on my podcast to maybe have a conversation. If not, hey, no big deal. I completely understand. But Britt Reed has done a couple of podcasts, and I've listened to 3 of them. He's done. He did another one, but for some reason the video to that is not available, so I'm unable to hear that. I'm not going to go through every single thing because I did take some notes while listening to all 3 podcasts that he did. And he did not hold back. This was a really deep conversation that some of these podcast hosts had. And some of these don't have a lot of views, and they deserve a lot more views, especially given the amount of coverage this story got back in 2021. So long story short, and I think you guys all know the story. Britt had an incident in 2007 with road rage, and the same day his brother had a drug incident. They both got arrested on the same day for 2 completely different reasons. He introduced his brother to drugs, and he felt like he played a really big hand in his brother's death when he OD'd. He then gets into the 2021 incident. He took blame for that Super Bowl 55 loss, saying that he knew he was a distraction and that it really changed everyone's mental state for that game. And he also took blame for the fact that Clark Hunt, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they all had to sit there. It was a Zoom press conference. It was not face-to-face, but still, regardless, those guys all had to answer questions about what another grown man did. And again, he opened up. This is where he starts to get really deep. He mentions that his kids, he has 3 kids. I don't know how old they are now, but I think at the time they were elementary, all of them elementary aged at the oldest. And they were going to school and people were asking questions. He even said that his wife contacted Britt saying, hey, there's been some sort of an incident in school. And that was just, a crazy time for Britt Reed. And that's when he realized, how unfair. Britt's whole point in all of this is he felt like the addiction only impacted him. But then he realized, no, it impacts his family because of what his kids had to endure in school. He also mentions the young girl. His own addiction impacted her and her family. It impacted the team because the team had to face questions that had nothing to do with them, and they really should not have to face any of those kinds of questions. He also opened up while he was in prison. His wife filed for a divorce, and he straight up said, I don't blame her. He said that he put her through hell. His words, not mine. So he was very open and transparent about a lot of things. And he talked about coming back from prison and trying to get a job. Nobody would hire him. He did end up getting a a job with, and I'm trying to see. He shouted out the business. I don't know if I have that written down. Oh, it's a health and wellness company. And the woman who started up, she and her husband were willing to take a risk on Britt Reed. So he's been able to do that. He's also been a volunteer coach at Central High School, and he's also been able to coach his son's team. So, so here's the big part that I think a lot of you guys will like to hear. Britt has launched a program where he is visiting college football teams to talk to them about addiction and trying to help them to stay away from drug addiction, alcohol addiction, that kind of thing. So far, from the research I have done, he spoke at the University of Maine, Clemson, University of Houston, and at Mizzou. So obviously, a lot of you guys are Mizzou fans. He's been out and about talking to a lot of people. He's been going on some podcasts as well. He started this in June, as far as I can tell from the research I have done. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it seems like he started this summer. Listen, man, what he did was wrong, and he straight up calls himself out and says, "Hey, I screwed up." And he feels like he mentioned he is legally not allowed to reach out to the family of the young girl. If he does that, according to Britt himself, he will go back to prison, which I can understand from a legality standpoint. He feels like, the best way to forgive himself and to be able to apologize to them in any way is to help others stay away and not make the mistakes he did. Listen, man, I remember when I was in high school, I took a health class, and we had someone who said that they were a former drug addict and came to talk to our class. I was a sophomore in high school. And hearing Britt Reed's story, it's like, okay, this makes sense what he's doing now. Like, no one's going to listen to somebody that has never been an addict. Like, hearing Britt's story, especially since it's public, he's not making the shit up. It's all real. And if he's going to tell you, hey, don't do this, coming from him, it'll probably mean a lot more. I think Henry Ruggs has tried to do something similar in Vegas. At least there was one time where he was seen publicly talking to a group of people about his mistake and trying to get others not to do what he did. So there's a lot to really take in there. If you guys haven't, I'll try to link those later. But yeah, Britt's been very open and transparent about what happened and everything he did. So, like I've said, if you're going to criticize someone heavily, and I certainly have of Britt, bring the same energy when they do something good. And he's been doing some good publicly lately, and trying to get people to not do what he did. Hey, that's a good thing in my book. You don't have to like him. You certainly don't have to forgive him or sugarcoat what he did before. And he did not do any of these podcasts feeling sorry for himself or telling people to forgive him or get over any of that. No, like, he just full on was like, yeah, I screwed up, and I will stay on this recovery program and do better. That's all he can do. What's done is done. And it's horrible because there is a young girl who was heavily impacted by this. So hopefully he has been out there trying to inspire people to not do it. That's all you can do sometimes. Connie says, do you know when the team will leave for South America? Yes, it is Wednesday. We had worse last year. Let's talk about how the offensive line will be this year. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are excited for Josh Simmons and what he's going to do with that offense. So as far as Kingsley's the one that's the biggest concern to me, more than Jawan Taylor. Jawan Taylor will at least have some positive moments. I don't know how many positive moments we really had with Kingsley last year. But if Kingsley can show that he's a much better guard than he was a tackle, that's a big step in the right direction. That is a big step in the right direction for sure. This will be the longest week ever. Yep, that's how it works. the offseason goes by fast, and then once it's the regular season, it goes by slow, right? Especially when your team's bad. The season goes by really slow in that case. Melinda says, I think it was poor planning on the Mike Pennell situation. They knew his age in March when they let Nadi go. If they wanted to go younger, they should have just kept Nadi. That's actually a really good point. I don't know what the disagreement was or why he ended up not staying. Certainly there was something with contract negotiations to where Nadi did not come back to Kansas City. And Nadi was not willing to get into that when he was asked about it by the media. But no, you are right, Melinda. You knew everyone's age. It's not like this was just a surprise in August when it was time to trim the roster and say, oh, Mike Pennell's too old. What do we keep him for? Like, yeah, that's a good point. It's a system. A lot of Chiefs that were really good with the Chiefs, they go somewhere else. They just don't succeed. Yeah, that's listen, you've seen a lot of guys come back. The Chiefs have given, the Chiefs brought back Kareem Hunt. That was a big story last year, and it was a big story in the docuseries, The Kingdom. Other place, Jody Fortson, who's unfortunately dealt with so many injuries, but I felt like has always been good for depth. Jody Fortson, that guy has had multiple comebacks at Kansas City. You just see it sometimes. A lot of guys will go elsewhere, like McCole Hardman, and they find their way back to Kansas City. They could have got Parsons for a player and draft picks. They did. Unless you're talking about the Chiefs. Listen, I don't think the Chiefs would have been able to meet what Parsons was asking for from a contract standpoint. In fact, the Chiefs, I'm telling you right now, are not in a great place with the cap. Let's see. How much cap space available do the Chiefs have? It's not much. The Patriots have the most at 51 million, followed by the Cowboys at 38. Of course, it would be the Cowboys at 38 million. The Chiefs are at $2.3 million. The Texans, the Bills, the Falcons, and the Giants are all over the cap. The Chiefs are at $2.3 million. That ain't much. Because, listen, injuries are going to happen. You're going to have to get guys off the street to come into play for you. Yeah, that's not much. It's really not. But I suppose Brett Veach will figure that out one way or another. What are you reasonably expecting out of the left side of the offensive line in these first 4 to 6 weeks against some tough defensive dogs? That's a really good question, Robert. I think Josh Simmons will be good. Is he going to have that rookie? I'll say this about both Kingsley and Simmons. Kingsley's not a rookie, but he is going from left tackle to left guard. So this is a whole new ball game for him. So it kind of feels like he's going through a rookie campaign. Essentially, both of them are going to go through learning curves. I'm not expecting them to be great. They're going to have mistakes. I think Simmons is going to be very good. I do. Is he going to have a couple of mistakes here and there during these 4-6 weeks? Yes. Every rookie offensive lineman will. Doesn't matter if you're the number one pick or if you're Mr. Irrelevant. Every offensive lineman, if they play plenty of snaps, they are going to have some ups and downs. And I think that is what you're going to expect from Simmons. But I think you can expect mostly positive than negative. As far as Kingsley, and again, you want to be realistic. You know me, I'll always shoot it straight with you guys. I think Kingsley's going to be just above average. Could he be a little better than that? Sure. But I don't know if it's going to be much more. And if he's way better than expected, I'll come on here and let you know I was wrong. And I hope I'm wrong. But I have my reservations about Kingsley. He looked better in that Chicago game than he did in the Seattle game. That is for damn sure. That was needed for Kingsley. He's a great run blocker. Pass blocking, I have questions. So now that Rice suspended and Royals got tendonitis, we have 6 wide receivers with 3 positions to cover. Yeah, so the Chiefs are at 6 wide receivers and 4 tight ends and 4 running backs. Now, will all of them be active on game day? We don't know. We'll see. But I think what you have for now, at least for that week 1 game, I think the Chiefs offense can manage that. And by the way, let me say something about Rice. And I said this on Wednesday's podcast. I want to be very clear right off the bat. I'm not saying the Chiefs don't need Rashee Rice. They need Rashee Rice. But how many games did Rice play last year? 4. One of those games, he only played 4 snaps because that's when the injury occurred. So really, he only played 3 games. Despite playing just 3 games, the Chiefs won 15 games last year without him. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say 15 without him because 3 of them you won where he played from start to finish. And then the remaining 12 you won without him. Well, you won 15 games when he missed the majority of last season. You only lost twice, the Buffalo game and the Super Bowl. The Chiefs won 15 games. They locked up the 1 seed before the final week of the regular season to where they put all their backups in for that final game. And they reached the Super Bowl all without Rashee Rice after week 3. I think the Chiefs will be fine in the first 6 weeks. And I'm glad it is the first 6 weeks. As much of a gauntlet as that first 6 games are, man, we need this to just be over with. So that way he can move on, the team can move on, and everyone can move on. So Rice coming back in week 7, I think it's good because he'll be fresh. He's 100%, but with that knee injury, doesn't hurt to, rest it a little longer and come back in week 6. Hopefully Hollywood Brown stays healthy. Hopefully Xavier Worthy, as small as he is, hopefully he doesn't suffer any kind of injury because then we can finally see that wide receiver trio lock and load and unleash in week 7. Oh, by the way, who are the Chiefs playing in week 7 when Rice comes back? The Raiders. I would not want to play defense for the Raiders that day because Rice will have a chip on his shoulder and he is going to have a lot to prove in that game. And he's going to want to go off on the Raiders in that one. He did not get to play against the Raiders last year. So he's going to be available for 5 of the 6 divisional games. He's going to be available for the Buffalo game in week 8 or 9. I think it's week 8. That's significant because that could be a game that would determine who's the 1 seed, or at the very least, who's going to finish ahead of the other in the AFC standings. And on top of that, he'll be available in the second half of the season when the playoff race heats up. I would rather have Rice be available in the second half, essentially November and December, in that 1 week in January when the playoff race gets interesting, because that's when you need to play your best football. What did we talk about last year with the Chiefs when they were not playing as well offensively? When they started to pick it up, and we also said this in 2023, they're playing their best football at the right time. Now, unfortunately, it didn't end well last year, but in 2023 and 2024, towards the end of the season, you did see the Chiefs offense start to play better. And there was nothing easy about the Chiefs season last year. All the injuries, the 3 games in 10 or 11 days, nothing about that was easy. A lot of close games, a lot of injuries. So, yeah, it is going to be interesting to see. But my whole point is the Chiefs can manage without Rice for 6 games. They can manage. Again, I'm not saying they don't need him because they do. But they can manage without him for 6 weeks. Yeah, it's just somebody asked me earlier, right before the live stream started, if the Cowboys would use all the draft capital, maybe not all the draft capital, but some of it, to try to move up and get Archie Manning. That would be quite a move. That never crossed my mind. I don't know if you can do that with Dak's contract, but yeah, I don't know, man. Jerry is such an interesting figure. I've yet to see the Netflix series on Jerry, and I need to. But boy, like even I did not realize this. Jimmy Johnson was not in the Cowboys Hall of Fame until last year, and that's because of some drama. But like even with former players, Jerry does not know how to handle things. It's not the best. Not the best. That's for damn sure. He's great in the regular season, but only at Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of guys who are great in just the regular season, but you gotta be able to show that consistency, and we haven't seen that from Dak. I hope for his sake he can do it, but it's been tough. The Chiefs showing their 53 man roster on their social media. Yeah, Tanyan is officially on the 53. No one is going to want to play in Dallas. Their fan base needs to stop buying tickets. That owner is a hot mess. Well, listen, I think because of the city they're in, one of the biggest cities in the country, and also that stadium, it's all. I mean, they don't need to. They'll sell their tickets. Like Jerry's going to make his money. The one owner I've always said, even though the Raiders are terrible and probably will be for a long time, Mark Davis is going to be just fine, because even if the Raiders are bad, a lot of people will make that trip to Vegas to go see their favorite team on the road. If there's one owner that's always going to be taken care of no matter what, it's going to be Mark Davis. Now, occasionally you'll see a game like last year. I think they played the Jags or another team. I can't remember who. There were a lot of empty seats. If there are two terrible teams in December playing in Vegas, yeah, you're going to see a lot of empty seats for that one. But in general, man, Mark Davis is gonna be just fine. Kind of like Jerry. Again, big city, not as big of a tourist attraction as Vegas, but a lot of people want to see that stadium. So yeah, Cowboys fans might sell the tickets, but Jerry's gonna see someone in those seats, whether they're rooting for the home team or the visiting team. Yeah, they traded Luka Doncic this year and Micah Parsons. If anybody said the city of Dallas was going to get rid of two young generational talented players, oh, and by the way, those two were going to be Luka Doncic and Micah Parsons, nobody would have believed you. Not a single soul. And listen, I think at the end of the day, it's all a coincidence, but boy, that city, that fan base. Ugh. Who's the best player on the Dallas Stars? Like, maybe that player is on the way out. Who knows? Same as you can have the best players, but you have to have great coaching on top of that. That is very true. We saw that from 2012 to 2013. That's for damn sure. Yeah, a lot of you guys comparing him to Dan Fouts. Remember, this is a good question, but Kyle, remember when Mahomes was overpaid? Now he's not even a top 10 paid quarterback. Yeah, I remember that. Hey, let me take a break from the other pages and go to Instagram, because on my StreamYard screen, it does not show the Instagram comments. What's up, Beskar Books? TomTom 779567. Was TomTom 779566 taken? Because you're 779567. Anyway, he says hi, and then immediately says, "Shut the fuck up, go Cowboys." Go Cowboys, baby. Yeah, Chiefs are ass, I'm sure. Why are you watching this? I mean, I'm not complaining, but you're the one giving me a view, so enjoy. I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, dude, have fun. Tom, I will make you a bet. Are we going to see more red or more blue in the stands on Thanksgiving in Dallas? I'll bet on red. I will bet on red for that one. If you're interested, let me know your terms and conditions. Actually, don't, because people don't ever honor their bets. Danny Parkins shared a story about that, how he bet a listener and that listener never paid up. Yeah. I see it on social media a lot too. Barn Dreaming says, I don't want to see Taylor Swift on football broadcasts. Okay, guys, I got something to show you here. This right here is a remote magical device here. Right there, I don't know if you guys can see, is the off button. That's the off button right there. Okay, here's what you can do. If you're really sick and tired of Taylor Swift and you don't want to see her on TV that badly, just point this thing at your TV, and that red button right there, you click, boom. Your problems are solved. Taylor Swift is no longer on your screen. She'll still be on the broadcast, but you won't have to watch it. I mean, it's really that simple. Like, if you don't want to see there are a lot of TV shows I don't like. I don't go around advertising on social media that I hate these shows, but some of you guys do. I don't get it. Does this make the Packers a legit team now? I don't think so. Can they beat anyone in the division? They are in a very tough division. I think they'll be better than Minnesota. We'll see how Minnesota does as they move on from Sam Darnold, and they're going to move forward with their draft pick from last year, JJ McCarthy. Detroit, who wins that division? It does make a very interesting conversation now for the NFC North. Who wins that one now? I would still put my money on the Lions, because the thing about the Packers, even though they got a really good player in Micah Parsons, which feels weird to say Parsons is no longer a Cowboy, at least you know they don't have Kenny Clark, and I think that still works in Detroit's favor to still have the edge. I get it. An edge rusher is more valuable to teams than a defensive tackle, but I still think for now, Detroit's the team to beat in that division. Jerry Jones is all about his pockets. Yeah, of course. Did the Chiefs go get a wide receiver before week 1? I doubt it. I don't think so. Who do I have making the wild card this year in the AFC? I'm actually going to go through every single NFL game tomorrow and make my picks. But I'll just look at the standings right now and see if I can give you my 3. Denver's one of them. I'll tell you that right now. Denver is 1. I think the AFC South is only going to have one team, and that one team is going to be Houston. Tennessee and Indianapolis are going to be bad. Jacksonville might improve, but not by much. I think New England can be a good dark horse pick. I would say Cincinnati could be the other wild card team. I know they're kind of they're a wild card team in general for the fact that you just never know what you're going to get with the Bengals. And that defense, even with Trey Hendrickson signed, I think there are still a lot of concerns. Because, dude, they got bullied by backups. Their starting defense got bullied by backups in one of the preseason games against the Eagles. Like, that's not a great look. So, yeah, those would be my 3 picks from the AFC. Yeah, I appreciate it. This one is signed by I always point the wrong way. This one's signed by CJ Graham. That one's by Kane Hodder. Dude, CJ Graham is such a cool dude. Like, he is tall, he's got the tattoos, but he is like the nicest person you will ever come across at a convention. Alternate Chiefs uniform in 2027. Look forward to it. Thoughts on color scheme? Black or white uniform? Listen, I might get hated for saying this, but I actually like the colors black and silver. I actually think the Raiders, they're all silver uniforms. That might be one of the best in the NFL. Here's my thing with the Chiefs. I hate the red and white combination, but I love when they go all red and all white. I mean, those look clean. Those look great. But the red and white and red, no, I don't like it. I never really been a big fan of that. Honestly, I think every NFL team, like the Vikings, should always wear full purple for their home games. The Bengals, they've got one of the best all whites in the NFL. The Chiefs, one of the best all reds in the league. The Raiders, one of the best in general when they go all silver. Why should your pants and jersey colors be different? It should be the same all the time, in my opinion. But as far as Clark Hunt, he's not a big fan of the color. By the way, the Bills, that uniform does not look nice. Maybe it's the photo shoot that made it not look nice. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, in a game, but Clark Hunt's just not a fan of these things. And he said before that he just thinks the red and gold, well, technically red and white, that's the more classic colors for the Chiefs. I will say this. I would love to see an all gold uniform for the Chiefs. Gold pants, gold jerseys, gold helmet. I think that would look really, really good. What are your thoughts on Sky Moore? Do you see him having success? I mean, he's already dropping passes for the 49ers. He's going to get a lot of targets because the 49ers don't have much right now. So statistically, can he be better than last year? Yeah, because last year he had no catches. So all he has to do is catch the ball once. Look, all he has to do, like this is the football, okay? This is my mic pop filter here. All he has to do is do this once, and his stats are better than last year. That's it. I'm being a smart ass, but I get your question. I don't know, man. Like, the guy has a good skill set, but he just cannot catch the damn ball. That's why they let him walk. I love your shirt, Farzine. Thank you. You guys want to hear a funny story about this? Well, not a funny story, but you guys know what I'm doing with my weight loss and all of that. My parents and brother got me this shirt for my birthday in May. This did not fit me. And they told me, they're like, hey, we can change it and get you a size. I'm like, no, I will keep this size. I am going to fit in it. And now, what did Paul Rudd say? Look at us now. Feels good not to be a fat ass anymore, guys. Greetings from Florida. Greetings to Florida. Yeah, a lot of people were happy to see Robert Tonyan make it. That's good for him. Dude worked really hard in the preseason and in camp. Time for Hollywood to show up. I agree, Bob. We didn't see much from him last year coming back because, he obviously was not 100%. But I think that's why the Chiefs took that risk to bring him back. They know that there's an injury history with him. They're not dumb. They traded a player in L'Jarius Sneed who had, or really still has, an injury history. But they felt like it was still worth it because what this guy can do for your offense can really bode well for this specific scheme on offense. Yeah, Tamika, I agree. I mean, there are all kinds of rumors about how many games the suspension was going to be. We heard anywhere from 8 to 12, and they got it down to 6, and they felt like they could agree on that and not go through the hearing. See, that was my fear also, is if they had the hearing in week 5 and it stayed at a 10 or 12 game suspension, dude, he would have missed almost all of the remainder of the season. Michael Parsons, yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, you cannot even say the name of your own key player. Like, come on. Come on. It's just not the best look for you. Not even close. Wouldn't lost. Had you drop that? Yeah. You're just thinking I'm going to get my pop filter and just go like that. And I don't even know where I went. Somewhere. I see it. I'll get it after I'm done here. We're almost done. We're about to wrap up here. So if you guys have any last questions you want to get them in now, because we will not be doing a Red Friday Q&A live chat next Friday for very obvious reasons. Good job on your weight loss. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tamika. Where's the Super Bowl this year? I was going to say San Francisco. Technically not San Francisco, but the city that the 49ers play in. I apologize. I don't know. Santa Clara? I think. Yeah, that's where they play. How much longer do you see the Chiefs continuing with this dynasty run? I mean, shit, dude, if you told me that they would go to the AFC title game 7 years in a row, I would have said there's no way in hell that's possible. I don't have an answer for you, Corey, because I truly don't know. I mean, there are a lot of factors that go into this. Obviously, you got to have your key players be healthy. And even last year, I mean, they still had Mahomes and Kelsey. I know Kelsey was not at his best, but he was still one of the better tight ends statistically. Even with losing some key players that Mahomes needed for support and having 2 bad offensive tackles, He made it to the Super Bowl last year, and the Chiefs have been able to make a deep run every year despite a bad pair of offensive tackles. The optimism is pretty big in Kansas City right now with the offensive line and the wide receivers. Like Mahomes is expected to have a really good season this year. But how long do I see this dynasty run lasting for? I don't know. Some people think once Andy Reid steps away, the Chiefs are in trouble. I don't really see that. As long as you have Mahomes, Brett Veach, and a good offensive line, the Chiefs might not win every single year. I mean, they're not winning every single year now, but you'll still see them win more often than not. I can't give you a number on that. Patrick's going to turn 30 very soon. Probably 5 or 6 years most. And hopefully you can get at least 2 more out of that. Because if you do, you will have won 5 Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes. This franchise only had 1. They had a 23-year postseason drought a couple of years before Mahomes. They had a 25-year postseason home drought until Mahomes was the one to help snap that against Indianapolis, the team that had been a thorn in Kansas City side for so many years. But yeah, man, that's why like don't even worry about a thing like that, because I'll tell you right now, these 7 years have gone by fast. They have gone by fast. Take a team that's been terrible the last 7 years. Like who has been really, really bad in the NFL the last 7 years? The Raiders made the playoffs at one point. The Jets have been really bad, I think, for all 7 years. Have they not? Like, even Cleveland won a playoff game. They've been to the playoffs a couple times. I mean, whoever's been really bad the last 7 years, which I think would be the Jets or Giants. Probably the Jets. Those 7 years have been a long 7 years. Whereas for the Chiefs, these 7 years have gone by fast. Good times fly by fast, man. You all know that. But when you're bad, the bad times feel like they last forever. They really do. Let me Google that, because I'm getting all kinds of answers from you guys. Some of you guys are saying Cleveland. Most NFL losses last 7 years. I would say the Jets. It's the Panthers with 60. The Jets are second at 59. Jaguars have 58 losses. Giants and Bears tied with 55 losses. Okay. The Browns have 44 losses the last 7 years. It's actually not bad. Far less than I thought it was. Okay, here are the top 10 teams in terms of how many the most losses, and I'm not even going to tell you the number. I'm just going to say the team. The Panthers, Jets, Jaguars, Giants, Bears, Texans, Patriots. Oh, the Patriots, damn. Falcons, Broncos, and then Cardinals, and then Raiders at number 11. Browns are at 14. The Chiefs have the fewest. That's good. Makes sense because they're in the AFC title game all of those 7 years. Yeah. So according to StatMuse, this is between 2020 and 2025. Like 2025 August, which you could just say 2024, I guess. Okay, that's not quite what I asked, but it shows the last 5 years. Anyway, my point still stands. With all of what I said. Chargers need to go back to San Diego and build a kick-ass stadium. The NFL hosting Super Bowls in San Diego needs to happen again. Beautiful city. I've never been to San Diego, but I've heard really good things about it. That's part of the reason why I was surprised when they left. I mean, listen, there's no going back, especially with the deal they have in that new stadium, Robert, and you know this. If I had like an NFL wish, I would love to see 50 NFL teams, as hard as that would be to keep up with. If every major city in America, like San Antonio, like San Diego, St. Louis, teams that did have an NFL team and don't anymore, a city like Oakland, if they all had an NFL team, I think that would be pretty cool. Especially like in the middle, like Oklahoma City, if they had an NFL team. What other major cities don't have an NFL team? I mentioned San Antonio. I'm not counting like San Francisco, even though the 49ers are the San Francisco 49ers. They're not technically in San Francisco, but I'm considering Santa Clara as part of that. Let me look up top 50 markets in America. Okay, let's see here. The first city I come across that doesn't have an NFL team, Orlando, Dayton, okay. Daytona Beach, okay. Let's see which city comes next. Sacramento. There's only one professional sports team in Sacramento. It's the Kings. How far is Sacramento from San Jose? Anyone know? Let's see. Charlotte's on here. Well, Charlotte has a team. Raleigh's also on here as well, right next to each other, 21 and 22. Portland, Oregon at 23. Let's see. Salt Lake City. Yeah, there's no NFL team in Salt Lake. They're at 28. San Diego's 30. I thought they would be a little higher. Kansas City's 33. Austin, Texas is 34. Where is San Antonio on this list? I know they're on here somewhere. Oh, San Antonio's 31, close to Kansas City. I've heard San Antonio is one of the more underrated cities in the United States. Columbus, Ohio is 35. Same state as Cincinnati, which is 37. Yeah, Oklahoma City's 47. Yeah, I mean, okay, 50 might be too much. Buffalo's 54. But yeah, I think it'd be cool if every major city in America had a pro sports team. Just my opinion. Yeah, it sucks to see cities like St. Louis and San Diego not be without an NFL team. Yeah, a lot of you guys saying Oklahoma. Yeah, that'd be an interesting spot, especially recently. You know, I know a lot of people are saying, well, Oklahoma has proven that they can be a pro sports team, or a good city to have pro sports. Well, yeah, I mean, when you're winning, the fan support will always be there. But I mean, they've done a good job with Thunder over the years. The 6 games Rice is out for are some tough games. Yeah, they are, but I think the Chiefs will manage. As tough as they are, I agree. Brandon9639 says, can I have a shout out? It's my birthday. Happy birthday, Brandon9639. Enjoy your birthday. Thank you, Nets World. Okay. I think I am caught up on all the questions, so I am going to get out of here. Going to watch some college football. Man, I'm excited college football's back. I am really glad football season's underway. Great game last night at Arrowhead. I was in Lawrence last week. That was a lot of fun checking out their new stadium. And obviously, a lot more teams are going to play. Dude, that Texas-Ohio State game, that is going to be cinematic. That is going to be a lot of fun to watch Saturday morning. All right, I will leave you with that. I am out of here. My name is Farzin Wasugi, and this is the Red Friday Q&A live chat. If you guys enjoyed this, please share this with your friends. Tell a friend about the live streams, the social media, all of that stuff. We just surpassed 145,000 followers. We've actually had more than 250 new followers today alone. That is massive. Let me read you this number for you guys. In the last month, 36.5 million views. That's how high up the views have been. And that's just, training camp stuff, essentially. So huge shout out to you guys and a big thank you for all of you sharing the content, viewing, commenting, engaging, all of that stuff. That's really how we grow the social media and the podcast as a whole. So big thank you to all of you who have been doing all of that. And the regular season has yet to start. So that makes me feel optimistic. We had 10,000 new followers last off season. So when I say last off season, I'm considering the date of the Super Bowl all the way to the first day of the regular season. This year, we have 12,000 new followers this off season. So 2,000 more than than last off season. So I'm ecstatic for that. So thank you guys so much. Once again, appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your Red Friday. I will talk to you all later. Peace out.